And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Forever Sports for today's Springboks versus Italy team prediction video. And it's going to be an exciting one, I think. I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than last week because I think there's a lot more unknowns with regards to what our team is going to look like this week. Last week, we kind of had an idea, well, pretty settled idea. I reckon about 12 out of the 15 sort of starters. I don't think there were too many positions that were really up for debate. This week, for example, I genuinely think 1 through to 15 could all be up for debate. And that's going to make for what I'm hoping a very interesting selection. And it's not going to be my selection. This is going to be your guys' selection, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running a poll for every single position and letting you guys vote who you think Rassie Erasmus is going to pick in that position for the team that's going to be announced later today. Team announcement is scheduled for about 1:45. That is when we are expecting to see the team come out. 2 o'clock, absolute latest at this stage. And so make sure you come and join us later for what I think is going to be a very interesting side. And I think we're going to see lots of rotation, but at the same time, while we look to try and build momentum, you want to make sure that you give players opportunities, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you keep a certain amount of continuity to ensure the level of performance doesn't drop. Italy going and beating Australia, maybe throwing a bit of a gauntlet down, maybe showing that they're not going to be a walkover side. So there's lots to sort of really pick apart. And that's why I'm very interested to see what our team is going to look like when we get through to predicting it today. And please also feel free to send me your teams. I got a team last night from Christian, who sends it every week. Loyal supporter of the channel. So make sure you go out now. You head over to mypicks.app and go and get your team locked in and let me know what it looks like. So you can email it to me. I can put it up on the screen. We can chat through it, and or else just drop it in the comments, and we'll see exactly what everybody's got to say about it. Now, in terms of where I'm at, I mean, obviously we're gonna see rotation. That's a guarantee. And I think that there's certain players, for example, who I think are also obviously going to play against Wales. So I'm thinking like a Ben Jason Dixon, for example. I think that he's very likely to play against Wales. I think that somebody like Evan van der Merwe was in the press conference this week, so I'm expecting him to start. I think that Morne van den Berg, for example, hasn't played in a while. I'm expecting him to be involved in some sort of capacity. Obviously, lots of talk about the fact that are we going to see Hondé Pollard this weekend and is he going to start? He might be captain. How's that from going from not playing to all of a sudden potentially captaining, depending on how many people we do rotate, because we might not have Siya Kolisi or Pierre-Steph the Toy or Eben Etzebeth, for example. All these sort of players who have previously captained the box. So there's lots of different ways we can kind of go about doing this, and that's what makes it all lots and lots of fun. So how this is going to work is I'm going to put a poll up for every single position, and we need to be choosing who we think is going to start, not what we would pick, who we think Rassie Erasmus is going to pick, because after the team is announced, it's going to get scored, and we're going to basically allocate points towards every player that's been picked correctly, as well as where they've been picked correctly in the right position. So, if you, for example, have picked Dave Willems at 15, but he starts at 12, you'll get a point for having him in the side, but you won't have a point for him being at 15 if he's not. So you have 30 points available to you for every single team prediction that we do. And it all comes down to whether you can get the player right, first of all, and then whether you can get them in the right position. So let's get this going, shall we? And we'll start with who starts at number 1. The options being Bone Fenter, Gerard Steenkamp, and Thomas the Toy are your lucid options, really. So let's get those going, shall we? We've got over 50 people watching. Please do smash like on the video, and we always like to say at least 50% of people have to vote on the player before we actually put them in the side itself. So with over 50 people watching, once we get to 25 votes, then we'll lock that player in our team and move on to the next one. And I'm just going to look at after we lock it in, whilst it generates, we'll then look at some of the other teams that have been submitted, like Christian, for example, who has submitted his side, and a very interesting side, to be fair. I quite like it. Whether we'll see it, I'm not entirely sure, but it should be a fun selection to look at. And I'm just really hoping that we get a a fun team this weekend, something I can really sort of sink my teeth in and get involved and pick apart. Because obviously it's quite a late team announcement, which means that Italy are not going to have a lot of time to prepare for whatever they announce, and that's, I'm sure, going to roll into it. For me, I'm very interested to see when we will announce the side for next week. Whether we're going to stick to a Tuesday or whether we're going to go to keep the Thursday going, which we did last week. Now we're doing this week again. And both times, by the way, they have originally been scheduled for Monday and then Tuesday last week, Monday this week, and then been pushed back. So I don't know how much you could read into that. But we've got 29 votes. If we can get to 30 votes. And once we get to the 30 votes, we're going to lock that in, right? So we're going to lock in. So our first person going to go into our number one position is going to be Bowen Fenter. So we are basically saying that, ironically, after saying all the different changes we're expecting, our first player we're going to put in is actually not a change. But in fairness, it is a fantastic opportunity to give Bowen Fenter another go. And I agree with that. I think we will see him start, and I'd like to see him start. So the next big question is, who starts at number 2? And are we going to rest Malcolm Marx, inverted commas? Are we going to give Jan Kobela a go from the bench again, or is he going to get start? Or will we see something very bold? And I'm going to put him in just because he does, in theory, cover it. Will we suddenly see somebody like a Malcolm van Staden all of a sudden maybe start at hooker? And I'll put him there just because he is the only other player that's designated to be able to play number 2 in the squad. So let's throw that in there. And let's see what you guys reckon. I personally am predicting a Malcolm Marx start. Maybe they might go Jan Kobela, but I think that they're keeping that Bulls combination pretty good off the bench. And it's working at the moment. And again, it's a bit like Bongi Mbonambi, for example. When we saw, even if Malcolm Marx, for example, was on the bench, he'll probably come on about 40-odd minutes. So I don't think it makes a massive difference if he's on the bench or if he's starting. I think he still plays more or less the same, if not more minutes. I mean, that's what we had. Even when he was coming off the bench and Bongi Mbonambi was being back to start, Malcolm Marx actually getting more minutes over a season on the field than Bongi Mbonambi was, because of just the way we used them. So, for example, Gerard Stennekamp didn't start last week, played more minutes than Bowen Fenter. So there's a lot to be said about the fact that just because you start doesn't mean you're going to end up playing more minutes. You got maybe a different kind of role to going. So everyone's reckoning we're going to see a Johan Kobela start. Which I don't think. I mean, I think if Jan Hendricks Wessels was around, I think he would probably potentially start. And I think that's going to be. That's always one of our biggest blows, the fact that we haven't been able to use Jan Hendricks Wessels. So I would be very interested in seeing the role he would have played over this National Nations. Would we have seen him start at loosehead, for example, ahead of Bowen Fenter? Would we see him coming off the bench at loosehead? Would he be coming hooker? Because we've lost that option, that sort of hybrid player in the form of Jan Hendricks Wessels. And that's been quite frustrating, because I think he would have played a really big part in this end of year tour. So not having had him has been a really big frustration, I think, for Rassie Erasmus and his coaching staff, because I think that they would have loved to have keep giving him more caps. He probably would have played, I think, probably 4, if not 5 games, and added that to his experience. So the fact that he's missed the entire tour is a huge, huge blow, especially given the fact that he's fit. He's ready to play. But obviously a very controversial ban that we spoke about a little bit last night in our live show. So if you want to go and get involved in that, go and check out the live show last night and see what was said. Also, please do consider becoming a member. And we're trying to get 2 members a day. So we got 1 member yesterday. So ideally, I'd like to try and get 3 today, maybe, on our road to trying to get up to 300 members by the end of the year. Obviously, usually it's our weekends that we really sort of ramp up our memberships. So we try and catch up over the weekend. But let's try and get ahead of that, shall we? So please do consider becoming a member. It is a very nominal amount every month, but it goes a long way towards us being able to get correspondence for overseas, to cover all the stuff like that. We've got somebody in Ireland next week, for example. So we've made sure that the biggest week, arguably, of our year, we are going to have somebody on the ground and make sure we get in the Rassie Erasmus press conferences and the likes of that. Matthew says, morning, Stephen. Hope you're well. I think the team won't be that much different. I think we are taking this tour very seriously. Yeah, it's a fair point. And I think that it's not the Italy that we played in mid-year. That's what I was saying the other day in our live show. It's going to be a much better Italy side. You've got Gobizzi back. You've got Michel Lamora is back. You've got Capoiozzo is back. You're going to see a much stronger Italian side. And the fact that they beat, as we put Johan Kobela into our side, the fact that they beat Australia last week, who've beaten us, is a bit of a warning for us. I think that the game that we really can kind of do what we want is Wales. They're outside the top 10 for good reason. They're playing pretty woeful rugby. Jack Morgan's not injured and loose in the squad. He's pretty much the only world-class player. It's just it's not good over there. So I think that against Wales we'll see rotation. I think we will see Zachary Portham get an opportunity. I think we'll see Ben Jason Dixon start. I think we'll see Winifred Burke start. I think we'll see lots of different players whoever's had the least amount of minutes going into that game. I think gets a go. Troy Renwa says, good morning, Steve. Is Cobbler a good fetcher, a jackler? I mean, not in the sense that Malcolm Marx is. He's not dreadful over the ball. Not really one of his party tricks, I suppose, per se. But he's not bad. He's reasonable at the breakdown. But I suppose, kind of, if you start to compare to Malcolm Marx, one of the best in the world, you're kind of always going to come up short. But he's not bad. I wouldn't say he's necessarily in a side as a jackler, in the sense that Malcolm Marx is, in a sense that Michael Kwaka Smith is, for example. But he's a decent breakdown threat. I think Jasper Wiese is probably our biggest breakdown threat if Malcolm Marx doesn't start. He's obviously very good over the ball. Siya Kolisi in a different type of breakdown threat, not necessarily in jackling point of view, but counteracting the likes of that. Marcus Ferreira reckons Jasper, Marx, and Peter Stoy must rest. I don't think they necessarily need rest, inverted commas, but it's more about rotation. I mean, as I said, those guys would have only have played 3 matches in the last 6 weeks. They played first week of October, then had 3 weeks off. They played back-to-back matches. And then, Peter Stoy didn't even play against Japan, so he doesn't need a rest at all. He's played 1 match so far this tour. Yas has played 2, Marx has played 2. So I don't think I think Jasper Wiese starts. I'd be very surprised if we go Siya Kolisi at 8, for example. I think he probably needs to be rotated more so than Jasper Wiese, and he's kind of the only other option at 8. Unless we all of a sudden see Ben Jason Dixon as a potential 8, I'll be surprised, but that could potentially be an option. I don't think there's anybody else really that we're going to see running in that number 8 channel. This is quite a close vote, by the way, between Thomas Latoy and Zachary Portham for who starts in the number 3 jersey. So we're going to rock that out at 50 votes. So let's get 3 more votes on that, and then we'll add those guys into that side. And then again, for those of you who keep asking last night, team announcement today at around 2 o'clock. We will be live at 1:45. That is the plan. And that is when we're expecting to see the Springboks side come out. Might come out a little bit earlier, might come out a bit later. Who knows? But we'll go live then, and hopefully you guys will come join us as we pick apart what I think is going to be a very interesting Rassie Erasmus side. I think it'll kind of show you as well what the thinking is for next week. I'll be interested to sort of see, for example, let's say you have Kurt Lawrence, a man of the match against Japan. Okay, maybe a bit of a quieter game last week. If for example, Edwin van der Merwe starts this week, and obviously it's against Italy, but if he goes and has a man of the match performance, goes and scores tries for funds, for example, how tempted does Rassie Erasmus get to give him an opportunity against Ireland, or our same as Ethan Hooker, for example? How much does that come in? And I'll be interested to see, how much has next week already been chosen versus how many options are, or how many players rather have the potential to get themselves into the mix for next week. That's what I'm like to see. We're going to lock in the same side there. We're going to put in Thomas Latoy, who's gotten the most votes start at tight head. Moving to our number 4 lock here. Huh? Who starts at number 4? Question mark. Even it's a bit. Oh shit! I tell you, I didn't put into tight head is Asanati Klabakanye. I forgot about. He's a late addition. Let's leave let's leave Thomas there. I'll be surprised if Asanati starts. Ibn Etzebeth, Jean Klein is an option at 4. Not Lut de Jager, but Archis Sneeman could be an option at 4. And Franklin Mostert and Ruan Nokia are more 5s. But let's put in Franklin Mostert. Maybe they might look at him at 4. Be surprised. But let's say maybe, shall we? Going back to the comments while you guys get voting. Malabongo says, I don't know about keeping the team the same. We don't want another Ox situation before Ireland. Italy will challenge whatever team we select, and some of the guys need the challenge. Steven says, morning, Steve. Maybe Marco on the bench to cover 2. We could see that. We might see that. Yassine says, Polly, Moody, Hooker, Edville should start versus Italy. I'd say they have stuff to prove. Yeah, I think something like Andre Pollard, for example, is probably under the most pressure he's ever been under in his career, because he's so used to being a bit of a shoo-in really for the Boks. He's always been the go-to guy. Even when he was drafted back into the side during the World Cup, when Manie Libbok was the number one choice, he didn't. They kind of came off the bench, and then all of a sudden was back to start as the only fly off in the final. So he's kind of always been the heads for emergency break last. Now we're just not seeing him being backed in some of the big matches. So we are seeing us going and fully backing Manie Libbok and fully backing Sasha. And that's where I think if Pollard gets an opportunity this weekend, and to be fair, he got an opportunity against Australia, got a man of the match performance. So he didn't exactly take it lying down. But the fact is that the way we're playing, for example, it just seems to suit the other two, and they're rolling with it. And I think that we might see the same thing against Ireland, unless it's raining next week, in which case you might see Pollard coming, because I think he obviously suits the wet conditions more than Manie Libbok and Sash. And if you want to play a bit of a tighter game, Matty says, do you think Andre will try and change his game or stick to his ways? I think he kind of has to a certain amount of loss I think he has to start to try and play the way we are playing, because that's kind of the plan for 2027. So he needs to try and add those sort of strings to his bow. Dylan says, you still laughed when I said Pollard is getting old. Sash and Manie doing their job now. I don't think it's got anything to do with the fact that I didn't say he's not going to play. It's more the fact that you say the man's getting old. He's 31 years old. He's not old. He's definitely not aging out, inverted commas. He's not being picked because he's too old. He's going to be 33 at the next World Cup. That's 100% okay to be playing. I mean, that's what, like 7 years younger than Schalk Brits was at 2019 World Cup. It's about 6 years younger than Deon Fourie was. So I think aging out is the wrong way of saying it. Being phased out or being not picked because of not being consumed to the condition, to the playing style is one thing, but it's not because of age. I mean, Manie Libbok's only about 2 years younger than him. So, yeah, I'll disagree with the age point of view. Anyway, we've got 50 votes, and Jean Klein has got 67% of them. So I do think that is the call. I think that Jean Klein will get his first start of the year in that number 4 jersey. The next question is, who starts at number 5? You've got Ruan Nokia. You've got Franco Mostert. You've got Archie Snyman. Benolio Tiago. All options in that number 5 jersey. So get your voting in there. Eric says, don't be silly, Pollard has nothing to prove. He has done it all already. Troyden says, I would love to see Williams at 9, Pollard at 10, Willems at 12, Moody at 13, Sasha at 15. Eric saying Pollard can still play 2 times World Cups. He could do from an age point of view. JD says, Pollard will start for almost every international team out there. Esse just has so much depth. It's actually insane. Just Rock Up saying, what do you reckon of Etzebeth and Nokia start this week, and the Munster duo Klein and Snyman start against Ireland? Faisal says, I think Rassie is giving Manie and Sasha more pressure cooker moments to give them that experience. Andre will always be our safety net, the iced man. And Matthew says, I think that Andre just needs to work on how he receives the ball. Manie and Sasha get it while they're running or moving, while Andre gets it while being static. Yeah, I think, and this is the thing that, I mean, even when Tony Brown came in, he said he can't wait to work with Andre Pollard. And he said that, he was a really bright attacking flower from the beginning of his career, and he maybe lost some of that as his career went on. And he'd like to have gotten himself back to leading on that skill set that he had at the beginning of the career. So, he's got to be able to adapt. And that's the thing. The best players can adapt to different styles of play, for example, to different situations. And he is one of the best players out there. So I think he'll have the opportunity to do it. But at the end of the day, we're looking at 2027, dry, fast-paced pitches, and the other fly halves just suit the game plan better and are playing very, very well. So I think that at the end of the day, at the moment, he is, inverted commas, he has been dropped. It's not a case of, we just want to see how they can do. That definitely goes into it. But, last week against France, we wanted to win. That was the big thing. It was not about how he performed last week. It wasn't about, trying to build a game plan and the likes of that. We had to win. Same against New Zealand and Wellington, we had to win. And we basically said, well, we think this is our best opportunity to win. This is our best chance of winning. This is our best team to try and beat these sides. And it didn't include Andre Pollard. We then played against Argentina in what was virtually a final for the Rugby Championship, and we still didn't play him. So I think at the moment he is genuinely the third choice fly half. maybe if we had a wet conditions final tomorrow, they might say, well, you know what, it's just the safety thing to do. But right now, as things go, I genuinely think he is currently third choice. And next week will be a big call whether he does get the nod next week against Ireland or if he doesn't. Because I think that's obviously our last big game of the year that we can't really risk losing next week. But we've got 57 votes, and Ruan Nokia has got the most votes. We're going to put Ruan Nokia in next to Jean Klein in our lock pairing. Now let's go to who starts at 6. And as far as I understand, Kwaka Smith is fit. They said that there are no injuries to speak of. So your options are, does Siya Kolisi start again? Do we see Marco van Staden? That's kind of what I'm probably backing. And will we see Kwaka Smith maybe there in the number 6 jersey? So let's get that poll going. Marnus Ferreira says, just a reminder, Jay Wilkinson, Jay Sexton, Dave Carter played World Cups well in their 30s. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, Pollard's age is not an issue at all. JP says, Pollard has become a bit like George Ford, class flyer, but sometimes the better option to win a match, but not necessarily suits the game plan. Vado reckons Andre needs game time. Malabonga says, I think Pollard will be on the bench for Ireland. Eric says, last year against Argentina, Pollard played from the bench. We scored 3 tries in 10 minutes, so he can definitely do the attack stuff like he did in his junior years. The question is, can he do it better than what Tasmani and Sasha are doing at the moment? And I think that's probably the big conversation at the moment is who is the best option. And I love the fact that you got 2 times World Cup winner, you know, probably the best fly half we've ever had, you know, number of games, the most experienced fly half, most points, and yet at the moment he can't get into the side. And it shows you that, first of all, we've progressed as a side with regards to how we play, because obviously he's been playing in box sides where he didn't actually have to do much from a creativity point of view. We had Billy LaRue, you kind of filled in that gap. But now we're saying that we need a flower half that can create. We need a flower half that can really give us on the front foot and distribute. And we've got better options right now. And we're backing those options, which I think is a really, really positive thing. So in terms of the number 6 jersey, I think we've got enough there. We're going to lock Marco van Staden in. And now we're going to add in our number 7, who starts at number 7. Maybe we'll see Andre Estes start at 7, just for shits and giggles. PSF the toy, Ben, Jason Dixon, or Kwaka Smith. I actually think PSF the toy will start, to be honest. I think that he'll play. That's going to be my prediction. I think that we've obviously got Ben Jason Dixon, we can give him a shot, but I think that Italy shouldn't be underestimated, the Italian side. So I think, for example, that we'll see rotation in Jean Klein. I think we'll start in the number 4 jersey. I think Ruan Nokia. Obviously, we have to see a new start at 5. I think Marco van Staden will also play, but I do think that we're going to see Jasper. And my guts, I think PSF the toy plays again to keep going for next week. And you can't. It's always such a. It's always such a difficult one, because everyone talks about, well, we don't want to risk injury, but these people also need to play. Players want to play. They're desperate to play. They want to be able to get into a. That's a good point, actually, Troy. Should we redo the poll? Actually, add Franco Mossad as an option of 7. I enjoy that. In fairness, let's re-poll. And I don't think we really ever see PSF tour off the bench. So I've got a I've got a feeling that we're gonna see PSF's toy. Warren says, surely Sasha starts against Ireland with Polly on the bench. Rudy says, I love seeing Mani at 10 and Sasha at 15. Mani is our number 1 at finding space, and our backs with Sasha in 15 will give him a lot of space to run with the ball. Big Red Rick, because PSF will probably captain, so he will start. I'll tell you why, because our data provider has Jean Klein with the Irish jersey. It's, for example, Thomas Toys in the Sharks jersey. Whatever our data provider brings in is, so if they haven't updated this photo in a few years, then unfortunately that's what we've got. Matthew says, I've been saying that let's Sash do his best, which is running in a 15. You give him that space to do that. Eric says, with Lurt out, we can't lose Nokia in this match. Rest him or play him off the bench. Need our best lock against Ireland. Malabonga says, Mostert at 7 gives me chest pains. We have Chatuka at home. Well, at the moment, everybody's actually backing Franco Mostert to start at 7. I think him at 7's, I think he does a very good job there. I would have had Vincent ahead of Ben Jason Dixon. That's so. In terms of where we are with the polls, we're going to lock that down at 58 votes, and it's a close race. It's a very, very close race, but we're going to go with Ben Jason Dixon, who's won most of the things, and now we're going to number 8. Who starts at number 8? Brackets, Jasper Visa or Quacha Smith? Any other options? I suppose I'll put Sia Khaleesi as an option. What are we saying over here? King Pastor, I think Ben J. Sticks is better than Mostert now. Visa doesn't need to rest. He had a long ban. I mean, he plays in Japan, so he's not. He's played, 4 games in the last how many months? I don't think there's actually anybody really that needs to rest. Maybe Sia Khaleesi needs to rotate, but I don't think any of the Japanese-based players need to rest. Peter Steph Toy, for example, we're talking about him having to rest. Why? He's played 1 game in the last 6 weeks, and he welcome play against Wales. So he goes and plays, France, Italy, Ireland. That's 3 games. He doesn't need to play. Isn't about to play against Wales. So I think he starts this weekend. So Reno says Dixon is scroll. Matthew says I think Ben is more of a Mostert than Peter Steph the toy. I don't know. You look at his stats, for example, and maybe not as big as Peter Steph the toy from a physicality point of view, but you look at his stats and the way he plays the game. It's quite similar, and he even said he pretty much bases his game on Peter Steph the toy and the way that he kind of goes about his business. I don't think he's quite the same line-out jumper that Franco Mostert is, for example. Obviously, the work rate's the big thing between all of them, and that's kind of what he wants to sort of emulate. But we've got 62 votes, and Jasper Visa's got the most, so we're going to complete our pack with Jasper Visa. And now we can get into the backline, shall we? So who starts at 9? Options are Morne, Funden, Bach, or Krappies is known, Grant, Williams, or Kobus Reinach. Webwise says, you need a big ball carrier for 8 to sure. Would have loved Ochas to swap out for Visa in these types of games. We lack another block mold number 8. Eric says, starts here as 8 as Cappy. Visa from the bench. Gerard says, the position is off for the selections. No, it's not. It's pre-allocated towards what they've generally played. And again, if you go look at the top there where it says loose forwards, it's a drop down, you can change there, or you can search by name. So you can add anybody you want into any position. To prove it, I'm going to put Asnat and Clavicania at scrum off. See? So you can do the other ones if you would like. Anyway, get your voting on number 9. Morning van den Berg at the moment is leading the way with Grant Williams shortly behind him. And Christian says, who's going to captain the side? Well, if that is the pack, then you're probably looking at a backline player to potentially captain the side. So, hey, I'm just picking what you guys are picking. I'm just saying that this is what I think. This is what you guys think. Christian says it's the same forward pack I selected on my picks. Well, we'll have a look at your side, Christian, a little bit. And if you guys haven't done your if you haven't done your picks, then make sure you go and get your picks done. And go and do it on my picks.app right now. Go and get involved. Go and do your picks and make sure you get them locked in. It locks in at 12 o'clock. So you're up until 12 o'clock to make those picks. DC says not much experience in that pack, and he says Asnati at 9. I think it's a great shot. I think you can do it, to be honest. I think that we can. I think you can operate. I think you can do a job. I back the man. You guys, however, reckon that Morne van den Berg is going to start in the number 9 jersey. Just Rockup says, just check my team. I'm currently in 3rd. Well, let's hope that I can try and stay ahead of you this week, shall I? Just rock up, because I'm under a bit of pressure from you guys. Who starts at number 10? Andre, Pollard, Mani Libok, or Sasha Feinberg. In fact, I'm just going to do SFM. And we'll just throw in, just for spanning the works, let's put Damien Williamson in there. Because, you know, just imagine. Imagine Russie just goes, lol, you guys think you guys know something, you don't. And he just goes and names Damien there. So at the moment, let's go and get that our number 10 sorted. So at the moment, our pack is Bowen Fenty, Han Kobler, Thomas Dutoy, Jean Klein, Ruan Nokia, Marco van Staden, Jasper Wiese, Ben Jason Dixon, Morne van den Berg. And the question is, who will partner Morne van den Berg in that halfback pairing? And the next question is, who's going to become a member for the stream, people? Surely we can get one member before we wrap up here. Eric says, rest Pollard for our biggest game against Ireland. I mean, he hasn't played in the last 3 weeks. Eric, you like a lot of resting, don't you? Big Red says, if now PSF's Toy to captain, then Pollard has to. Well, you could have JC Creel, I suppose. You know, he has captained before. Oni's actually put Pollard at 12. King Power reckons Pollard at 10, Libok 23. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards for my prediction. I'm also thinking that Libok comes off the bench. Christian says, Polly's been resting since Eden Park. He needs a hit out if he's going to play Ireland. Well, he did play for the Bulls. But yes, has not played for the Box since then. So, yeah, we've got over 58 votes, though. So you can lock that in. And Andre Pollard is going to be your pick to go in at fly half. Now we're going to start with our centers, shall we? This is going to be an interesting selection for me. Who starts at number 12? Damien Delendi, Andre Esterhazen. Everybody's asked for Damien Willemse. And I'll throw in Ethan Hooker. Although I do think he's a bit more of a wing these days. My guess is Ethan Hooker in the number 11 jersey and Edel van den Berg in the 14. That's my guess. But, yeah. Cleese says, we are losing. Bring money on. Win by record margin. Rinse and repeat. Hey, I mean, if it works, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I've been so impressed with the fact that he's just embraced that bench role so well, and he's done so well in it. I think he's a whole different player at the moment. Is Murray Liebach to what he was a year or two ago? I think, well, not a different player, but just operating at a different level of confidence. I think he has definitely worked on his game management, understanding when to play the risky pass, when not to play the risky pass. You know, how to see out a game. And I mean, you know, everybody talks about the fact he needs that experience. He is 28 years old. He's won a URC with the Stormers, so he has done big things. But I do think we are starting to see a whole different version of Murray Liebach. And we saw the same with Alex Yankees in fairness. Towards the latter stages of his career, a maturity started to develop in his game. That maybe wasn't there as a youngster, where you try to always play it, even if it's maybe not necessarily on. But we've got 56 votes, and we're going to throw in, I think it looks like Andre Esterhazen has pipped the vote. Yeah, there we go. And the next question is, who starts at 13? The options being Jesse Creel, Kanan Moody, and Ethan Hooker as well, who's they do see as a potential option at 13. I'm very in between on my selection. I think Kanan Moody starts at 13. I think that selection is pretty nailed down. I just don't know if he's going to start with Andre Esterhazen inside of him, or if he's going to still have Damien Delendi inside there. Are we going to have Esterhazen off the bench again and continue that kind of vibe? Yeah, I'm interested to sort of see what happens. I mean, these days, Esterhazen, this has been more of a forward than a back so far. So I'm interested to sort of see how they go. But I do think the 13 selection for me is reasonably straightforward. You guys are kind of agreeing. We've got 59 votes. See if we can get up to 60 votes on that one. Kevin Pretorius says, Rassie said they'll probably go Hooker at 12, Moody at 13. Big Red says Hooker and Esterhazen would be great, but then I'd go Jesse over Esterhazen. And Eric says we must not take Italians too lightly. They beat Aussies and Oz beat us big at Ellis Park. Christian's reckons he's got Willemse at 12. I like Willemse at 12. I think if we had Fassi at 15 or we had Quan Hornley at 15, I'd give it a go. But yeah, I think that Willemse being the only fly half is probably going to be I think we're going to see. I I think we'll see him I mean, it's probably only fullback. I think we'll see him at fullback. But you guys have put in Katie Moody. They're at number 13. So now we're going to move to our wings. So now big question is who starts at 11? Options: Ethan Hooker, Kurtley Orenser. Let's do Claw, Cheslin Colby, or Edwil van der Merwe. Those are your options. What I will say is Edwil van der Merwe has been doing media this week. Very rare that you do media and you're not involved. So, for example, Marty Liebach's been doing media as well, as has Ruan O'Keefe, as has... Who else was it? Jasper Visa did it as well. Mark van Staden did media this week. Ethan Hooker did media as well. Archer did media, so he'll be involved. Well, usually, not always, but 9 times out of 10, players who do media during the week are usually involved on the weekend. So that's the only sort of hints I can give you, people. I'm giving you the information. What you do with it is all up to you. Webwise says we missed Moody quite a lot in the air last week. If we play the type of game against Ireland, I think Moody gets the nod there too. I think you could probably put Ethan Hooker in there as well, so in terms of adding a bit of bulk in the kick chase. Malawanga reckons Willemse at 12, Colby at 15, Christian says Sashfam Zulu at 15. And honestly, this is actually going to be very interesting. I agree. I think it is going to be very interesting. I still haven't done my pick. I'm going to do it after this stream, and I'm not entirely sure on where I'm going to go with it, to be honest. But let's see. Let's see. We've got 61 votes, though. Everybody reckons Ethan Hooker in the number 11 jersey. I think that's a pretty good shout, in fairness. So we're going to lock him in there. Let's decide at number 14. Your options being Edwil van der Merwe, Cheslin Colby, or Kurtley Orenser. Yeah, let's go. There's our poll. Go and get involved. We've got 2 more positions, people, and then we're going to lock down and we're going to move on, and we'll see you guys all later for the official team announcement, where we can then go and look at this and score this and see how we did. Brenda, the word says, where's Ruan Venter in the blindside picking order for you? Not as high as I like him to be, in all honesty. We've got Peter Step, Victoria, we've got Franco Mars, we've got Ben J. Sticks, we've got Vincent Stuka. After that, you've got Ulrich Lowe. I don't know if they're seeing as a blindside versus an 8th man. Probably about 6th choice, with my guess, 6th, 7th choice. I think he should be involved. I genuinely think there's more value in having him there than Ben Jason Dixon is, to be honest. I think he's going to be an absolute world-class player. And I think the more you get him involved and the more he's involved in the structures, and the sooner you get involved, the better. But we've got 173 people watching, people. Let's see if we can get up to, for the last one, I want to try and see if we can get up to 100 votes. Let's see if we can get up to 75, 80 votes for this selection. And then for the last one, to be fair, the last one's a fullback, it's not particularly, well, maybe Ches and Colby versus Damian Willemse could be an interesting vote. But big shout out to everybody that has been watching and joined us. Please do smash like on the video. As I said, please do see if we can find a member in the stream. And to answer your question, Makai, what time's the team announcement? It is at 1:45 at this stage. If there's any changes, we'll show you. But just check out in our page for later, and you'll see if there's any updates. We will obviously update it. JD says, talking about the diversity. Yeah, it's not the most diverse team, in fairness. I think, you Grant Williams at 9, you could put Monty Liebach at 10. No, it doesn't help that Oxen Chair is injured at the moment. Bongi Manambi not involved. Fincher Suka, I still think should be there. But anyway, whereby says, to be honest, I think Reinhard Ludwig has an equally high ceiling compared to Ruan Venter. I'm interested to sort of see where he settles, Reinhard Ludwig, whether he settles at lock or at flank. To be fair, I think that Ruan Venter could also do a job at lock. He's a little bit short, but I think we've got some really exciting youngsters. So I think that sort of that the race for the next generation is going to be very, very exciting. So we've got 76 votes. So before we lock into that, I'm going to get the last poll going, and its question is going to be who starts at 15. Your options, I'll put in Kurtley Orenser. Why not? Damian Willemse and Cheslin Colby, as well as Sash Famigoma Zulu. Right, let's see if we can get 100 votes on this. Maybe it could be quite an interesting poll. So let's go and see if we can get up to 100 votes. Got 168 people watching, so it's like 2/3 of you to vote. So let's come on. Let's see how creative we can get. Get voting. I'm seeing 21 votes. 21 votes. Get up to 100. Come out, people. 29. But he just says, I wish we could see Cameron Harnicorn. And Eric says, Ruan Fence should move to the Bulls. Then need some seven flankers. He should definitely not. He's very, very happy where he is. And he's appreciated where he is. And he's a fan favorite. And if we lose Quan Horn, Ruan Fence, and Morne van den Berg, I'll cry. I will cry. So there's no need to do that. There's no need for any of that to happen. Can we just not? Can we just not throw that kind of thing out there into the mix? At the moment, we've got 59 votes. Come on, let's get to 100 votes. And Dane Willems at the moment very much leading the way with 58% of the 64 votes. But I want to get to 100 people. Let's get to 100 votes. Then we'll download this team, have a look. We'll have a check at Christian's team as well. And if you guys want to send in your team, feel free, and we'll have a look at your side as well. Right, 75 votes, people. I'm not closing until we get to 100. Surely we can get to 100 votes. I don't know if we've ever actually had 100 votes on our player prediction show. Christian says, Ludwig is good at 7 for Bulls, but would be awesome if they can sign Fenter. No, just leave us alone. You guys should give Hashim to the Cape if you're going to keep Nico and Mornay. No. Can we not just have depth in one position? I mean, that's wild depth. It is wild depth. And for all, he was saying that don't come here with the Lions aren't good anymore. The Lions are in 8th. We are 3 points behind the Bulls. We are the same amount of points as Leinster, and we are 3 points ahead of the Sharks. Let us cook. We had a terrible tour, but we've won 2 since then, guys. And we beat Ulster. So leave us alone. We're trying out here. Our points difference is two worse than Leinster. It's been a weird start to the thing. Yes, Stormers are 5-5. Big whoop. But the Lions responded. I can't believe we lost to Zebra. It's so annoying. If you had beaten Zebra, we'd been on 16 points. You'd be sitting on 5th. And probably should have beat Benetton as well. But anyway, the whole thing before the beginning of the season, the Lions' goal was to win the home games. That was the plan, was to win the home games. Let's come, guys. Surely we can get to 100 votes. We need 17 more votes, and there's 152 people watching. So that means that 52 people don't have to vote, and we can still get to 100. Clint says, how's Jason Pretorius tracking? He's been injured, unfortunately, been coming back from injury. Big fan of him, though. Big fan. I think he's fantastic. I don't understand how he's not, how Renzo WC has been given the call out before him. Christian says, Morley must go to Bulls so he can play with Polly. You can keep Fenter. How about you just leave us alone? Just leave us alone. You want to scrum off, go and find somebody else. Go get Asad Moose at the Western Province. You've taken Paul de Vet. Leave us alone. Just go find anybody else. You guys, between the 3 of you unions, you guys can go and do your own thing. Leave us alone. There's no need for you guys to come. Oh, I actually even put in front of Merva to our number 14 over there. 90 votes, 92 votes. Come here, people. The last 8 votes. And then we'll have a look at it all. People, by the way, have you guys done your MyPicks? There's no point in me just doing this, people. It's got to be a team effort here. So go onto mypicks.app right now and get your predictions. In fact, I can go and show you, or I can go see how many people have done their predictions. And there's 150 people watching over here. So if you guys all did your predictions, for example, that would be fantastic. I see a couple of new signups, which is good to see. But I don't think there's been 150 team predictions so far. So go and get your team predictions in. You've got until 12 o'clock to do it. For example, yesterday there were, so this week, let's see, there were 11 team predictions to the 3 on Sunday. That's 14. That's 28. That's 42. Yeah, so we've got over 50 predictions so far, and there's 155 people watching. Yes, so that means well more than a third of you have not submitted your team prediction on mypicks.app. So go to mypicks.app, go and register, go and get your prediction in. Because it's too late later. It's too late. By 12 o'clock, we lock it out, and then we're going to get scored. And at the moment, FS Community is coming third in the Forever Sports team predictor. I mean, who's coming first? I mean, who do you expect? And what do you expect? This man knows his shit. Whether he'll know it later, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, going. Eric says, Aston should go to the Bulls. No, man, leave us alone. And Josh Rockup says, big party when you reach 100K subscribers, fireworks, run on the pitch. Yeah, I'm ready for it. We'll get those poppers and just pat, 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 pat. I think we'll probably do it in the Island game as well. So I think we're in for a big stream hopefully next week. I mean, maybe we might get there before. We did get 1,500 last weekend, but I think at the moment, my guess will probably be about 99,500 going into the Island game. And then yeah, we're going to have poppers ready to go. And the works when we get to the 100K. Asnat here, 1 or 3. He's a 3. He's a tight head. Tight head, okay? So you got Volko low. You'll be fine. And Mornay Smith. Leave me alone. Anyway, we're going to put in Damian Willemse as our 15. So we're going to lock in our picks. And we'll review them in just a second. In the meantime, whilst I share and download that, we're going to have a look at what Christian has. Because he submitted his prediction. And I don't know if he's done his score prediction. No, he hasn't. Because otherwise it actually also shows on the graphic itself. So this is what Christian has gone with his picks. And in his front row, so as you said, he's got the same pack he's got. His only difference, he's put Damian Willemse at 12. He's put Sasha at 15 with Kurt Janssen at 11. Ethan Hooker at 14. So a different backline to what we've going. That's what Christian has submitted. In terms of what we've done, well, it's just been generated, so I'm just going to download. This is the thing. This is why you guys need to go and predict your team, because you can go and get it. It's like a little a graphic that gets generated, and you can go and share that with all your mates. Get them to go and predict it and stuff like that. So that's what ours looks like. So you can see there, F is Forever Sports, nice little logo involved there. That's what our community team looks like. If you've done your prediction, has a prediction there. So it's a lot of fun, people. And I've been having a lot of fun topping the league, but I need to be knocked off my perch. So which of you guys are going to be the ones to go and do it? Which of you guys right now on mypicks.app going and predicting your side and getting that sorted? We're trying to get 500 users on my picks this week. That's our week goal. We need to get another 80 odd to get there. So yeah, be part of the revolution, people. Be part of the revolution. Hopefully by the end of the day, we should also have over 1,000 predictions having been done, which for a new platform is pretty cool. So make sure you go and get those predictions in, people, because that's what our side looks like. I don't think it's awful. I don't think we'll rotate as much as this. That's my gut saying. I don't think I personally think that Malcolm Mark starts. I personally think that BTCF the Toy probably starts. And I think we might see Damien Dale India 12. I'm very hesitant about that selection. Also, I'm not entirely sure whether we're going to see Andre start or whether we're going to see Molly Liebach start. Or, I think it's a bit of a toss-up between. I think those are going to be the two flower halves. Which order? I'm not sure. Eco Seahorse says, hello from South Africa in Spain, and I watch your channel. I watch your channel every time the box play. I appreciate that. Welcome and glad. Hope you've also joined my picks. This is face. I'm the only rugby watcher in my friend group. Got to find better friends then. I'm joking, but you do. Or turn them into rugby watchers. Just tell them to watch the channel, and we'll sort them out. Right, people. Let's lock it down. In this team, my guess that the captain would have to be Andre Pollard. I personally think Peter Steph the Toy will start, so he could potentially be a captain. In Sports Dictionary asking, might we see Andre Estes as flank? I'll be surprised, but maybe. You can't write it off. You could see something like that. But let's wrap it up there, people. We're going to see you a bit later for the official team announcement show. Please do smash a like on the way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well.